Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and discovering that every F-35 fighter jet in America has been grounded. Every electric vehicle has stopped working. Every smartphone is dead. A nuclear attack? A cyber war? No. China simply made an export decision. What I'm about to tell you today is not a conspiracy theory. It is a very real threat backed by U.S. Department of Defense reports, Pentagon documents, and billions of dollars worth of industry data. China controls more than 60% of the world's rare earth element production. And without these materials, the modern world would quite literally come to a halt. Before you continue watching this video, ask yourself one question. When and how will China decide to use this leverage? Neodymium, dysprosium, terbium, cesium. These names may sound unfamiliar, but you interact with them every single day. The phone in your pocket, the motor in your car, the earbuds in your ears, even the magnets inside life-saving medical devices. Without rare earth elements, 21st century technology simply cannot exist. The U.S. military considers these materials strategically critical. An F-35 fighter jet contains more than 400 kilograms of rare earth elements. Submarine sonar systems, missile guidance technology, laser weapons. All of them depend on China's export approvals. And here's the truly shocking part. This situation is not an accident. China spent decades building it. In 1992, Deng Xiaoping visited Inner Mongolia and made a statement that would prove prophetic. The Middle East has oil. China has rare earths. From that moment on, China aggressively developed its massive domestic reserves. Western companies abandoned many of these mines because of environmental costs and strict regulations. China took a different approach. It lowered prices so aggressively that competitors simply could not survive. In the 1990s, America's Mountain Pass mines shut down, Australian mines closed, European mines closed, and by the 2000s, China controlled 97% of global production. That number has fallen somewhat today, but when it comes to processing, refining, and controlling the supply chain, China still dominates. Mining rare earths is only the first step. Turning them into usable materials requires enormous industrial infrastructure and decades of specialized expertise. China mastered both. Now let's go back to 2010. A territorial dispute erupts in the East China Sea. Without warning, without explanation, China abruptly halts rare earth exports to Japan. Japanese electronics manufacturers are thrown into chaos. Toyota, Honda, Panasonic. All of them begin scrambling for alternatives. Within weeks, Japan is forced to take diplomatic action. China wins without firing a single shot. This was supposed to be a wake-up call for the West. But was it taken seriously enough? No. And today, the United States finds itself facing a similar vulnerability. What Japan experienced in 2010, America began to realize in the 2020s. More than 70% of America's rare earth supply comes directly or indirectly from China. As of recent data, the United States has only one active rare earth mine, Mountain Pass in California. And where do many of those extracted materials go? China. For refining? Think about that. America mines the raw material, ships it to China, China processes it, then sells it back. This is not dependency. This is a trap. And there are people who understand this. In its reports, the Pentagon has repeatedly warned that vulnerabilities in critical mineral supply chains pose serious national security risks. But recognizing a problem and solving it are two very different things. Rare earths are not only a military issue. The electric vehicle revolution depends on them. Every EV motor relies on permanent magnets made from neodymium and dysprosium. Every battery depends on materials like lithium, cobalt, and manganese. And China's share of processing these materials? More than 80%. America is relying on electric vehicles to achieve climate goals and transform its automotive industry. Yet that transformation depends heavily on China's supply chain. This is exactly why the Biden administration allocated billions of dollars through the Inflation Reduction Act to build domestic battery production. It's why trade wars increasingly focused on strategic industries. And it's why China began restricting exports of gallium and germanium. That wasn't the main event. It was the rehearsal. Now let's talk about the good news, and then the bad news. The good news is that the world has plenty of rare earth reserves. China does not own them all. Australia, Canada, Brazil, Africa, and even the United States possesses significant deposits. The bad news? Turning those reserves into functioning supply chains takes 10 to 20 years. Environmental regulations, permitting processes, labor costs, technical expertise, and perhaps most importantly, China will not simply sit back and watch. Chinese companies already control major mining operations across Africa. A significant portion of Congo's cobalt production is tied to Chinese interests. This is not merely an energy transition, it is a resource war. And if the United States wants to compete, it needs to move very quickly. Right now, it isn't moving fast enough. Let's imagine a hypothetical scenario. The year is 2027. China increases military pressure around Taiwan. The United States announces a new package of sanctions. Overnight, China suspends all rare earth exports. What happens next? F-35. Production slows dramatically. Naval missile production is disrupted. Advanced electromagnetic weapon systems face severe shortages. At that point, this is no longer a trade war. It becomes a direct constraint on military capability. And China can achieve it without sending a single soldier or launching a single missile. Few powers in history have ever possessed such an asymmetric advantage. That is precisely why this scenario is often described as one of the Pentagon's greatest strategic concerns. In the 20th century, wars were often shaped by those who controlled oil. The wars of the 21st century may be shaped by those who control rare earths, semiconductors, and battery technology. And right now, China is leading that race. America knows it. Europe knows it. Japan learned it the hard way. The question is, will this awareness lead to change quickly enough? Or will we one day wake up and realize that the economic lifelines of the modern world are concentrated in the hands of a single country? The answer to that question is something all of us will discover together as the 21st century unfolds. If this video made you think, leave a comment below and answer this question. Will China use this leverage or not? and tell us why. I genuinely want to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And send it to someone who is interested in economics, geopolitics, or the future of global power.